Hello and welcome once again to Beatle University. I am Professor Mop-Top, and as we continue to dig deep into the world of Beatle knowledge, it's time to once again discuss the Beatles' self-titled double album, from time to time referred to as the White Album. At the beginning of 1968, as the band was still dealing with the loss of Brian Epstein and suffering from the defeat of their questionable failure with the Magical Mystery Tour film, they planned ahead for their extended getaway to India by recording a few tracks they had so that they wouldn't be missed while they were away. While away, they wrote a bunch more songs, and when they came back, they kept on writing new ones, even after the sessions began. Just before things got underway, the four Beatles got together at George's house and recorded demos of what they had so far.
Have you seen the little piggies crawling in the dirt? And for all the little piggies, life is getting worse. Always having dirt to fly around in.
Then the nerve-wracking sessions began, and they weren't as enjoyable as some of the recording sessions of the past. Although still relatively productive, there was a lot of drama and hurt feelings among band members and studio staff. As was in the last couple years, the band now had unlimited studio time and were allowed to spend as long as they wanted working on certain things. This occasionally led to arguments within the band. There were some other issues among the Beatles as well, including the business distractions of Apple Records, other non-Beatle projects, both musical and non-musical, and the ever-present presence of John's newest constant companion, Yoko Ono. Paul also had a change of relationship status in '68 when Jane Asher called off their engagement, and McCartney briefly dated a woman named Francie Schwartz. She visited the studio from time to time, politely excusing herself when it was time for the band to get serious about recording. By the end of the sessions, Paul was into an American bird named Linda Eastman. In the past, there had always been an unwritten law that the girlfriends and wives would stay away when it was time to record, with a few exceptions for special occasions like Yellow Submarine, A Day in the Life, or the All You Need Is Love recordings. Not only was Miss Ono at Lennon's side literally every moment he was at work, she also offered opinions and critical analysis to the other Beatles, throwing out occasional suggestions on how she thought they could make a better album. She also introduced John to harder drugs than he had used in the past. This was kept hidden from the other Beatles, who were likely suspicious but possibly worried about approaching the ever-temperamental Lennon about it. And as if an internal drug problem wasn't big enough of a problem for the band, shortly after the end of the sessions, John and Yoko were busted for possession of drugs. Luckily, all that was found was the much softer marijuana, as opposed to the harder heroin that the duo had been using around the time. As I have previously stated on several occasions over this White Album unit, things were weird in Beatle land, lots of paranoia and everybody just generally not getting along. At one point, even the amicable and easygoing Ringo Starr had it and briefly walked out. George also continued to become more and more frustrated being considered a little brother Beatle and not getting the proper respect he deserved. Even though things were fragmented, from time to time they cooperated and got stuff done. And on Wednesday, the 16th of October, 1968, a little less than a month before the album would be released, the band had a deadline to meet, and the EMI team got to work finalizing the album. And the next time we meet, we'll discuss the sequencing of the album and some arguments. Until then, class dismissed. I am Professor Mop-Top.
1, 2, 3, 4.
A Mop-Top production.
Very good.